Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to have a look at the Emil 1951, the tank that is just arrived back in store. Now, the tech tree version of this is the Emil 1, the tier 8 version. And in my opinion, the Emil 1 is better. It's better than this. Now, there are some comparisons. I mean, when we tested this tank, it was really good. But just before Wargaming was about to put it in store, they kind of thought that it was a little bit overpowered. So they stopped the sale, they nerfed the tank, and then they put the tank for sale again in crates. So Wargaming then, I think they're selling it. I think this is the first time that is actually coming for gold. Would I recommend this tank? At the moment, I would say no. I would say don't buy it. Mainly because of the price. I mean, I think it's, by the time this video is released, you'll know, I think it's 12.5k gold standard and 15k gold for the camo. Now, that is a lot of money. That's not cheap for a tank that is, it's okay. It's not bad. It is a nice tank, but why, I don't understand why you would spend so much money on a tank when you could just go get the Emil 1. I've been playing the Emil 1 lately, and it is better. Now, what is the difference between both tanks? Now, there's a couple of differences that is not major. That isn't major, but for me, there's just one thing that stands out, which we will get to. Now, we're looking at the Emil 1 here. You can see, now, the turret on the Emils, both Emils, they are quite nice. The Emil 1 is a little bit better on the turret and the hull than the Emil 1951, but not much difference. Like, I think it's like 20 mil or something like that. It's nothing too spectacular. So the armor profile is kind of the same, almost the same. The DPM is pretty much kind of the same as well. So what is the big difference that makes the Emil much better than this tank? Now, for me, the big difference is the speed boost. Now, the Emil 1 has the mega speed boost, as I call it, where the Emil 1951 doesn't. Now, I don't know why that is. If they would give this the bigger speed boost, then it would be a really nice tank, and a tank maybe worth buying. But still, even with the speed boost, the extra speed boost, I don't think this tank is worth 15,000 gold. It's not cheap. It really isn't cheap. So I wouldn't recommend buying this tank, not for that price. I would wait. I mean, the next time this comes for sale, it'll probably come for sale for around 10k gold, I'm guessing. So I would definitely wait another couple of months. It will come back. It always does. You can get this tank in the crates, which the crates are not that great, but you can get it in the crates. But for 15k gold or 12.5k gold, that's a little bit steep in my opinion. Very steep. So I would definitely wait for this tank to come back the next time. And even then, I think the next time it will come, I'm guessing it will come for 10k gold and then maybe 12.5k gold with the camo. Even the 10k gold, you're pushing, like, okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, I would definitely wouldn't pay 12.5k gold just for the tank alone. Now, it does look good, and as I said, it is a good tank, but for me, the only thing missing about this tank is that speed boost. Other than that, the tank is pretty solid. It's got a nice turret. It's a hard tank to carry. It's a very hard tank to carry, which you're going to see in this game. Because of that really long reload, you've got to remember that it's not a auto reloader. It is an auto loader. So it's a very hard tank to carry. Very hard tank to carry. And you've got to pay you got to pay close attention to where your team is, where the enemy is, and mainly when you decide to go for that reload. And what I mean by that is you might have a couple of shots out. Like he's going to have here, he's going to have 2 shots, he's going to have 1 shell left, and he is going to go and get the kill, which is fair enough. Now, when he's on a reload, luckily for him at the moment, he's got nothing really attacking him, so he can just back up. But the problem is now is when you're on that reload, you need to look at where the enemy is, because you may have to relocate. And relocating when you're on a reload is the best choice. You don't want to reload and then have to then look for the enemy once you have reloaded, because you're just wasting time and you're just lowering that DPM massively. So as with all these auto loaders with massive reloads, use that time, use that 20 odd seconds to look for the enemy, to get into a position so when you are reloaded you could just pop out and bang bang bang, and then do the same thing over again. Always have some kind of cover, whether that be your building or your teammates, because if you get rushed by a tank with good DPM, something like maybe this RU-251 or another medium tank, you will just get torn apart. I mean, it's what, a 22-second reload, so that's a long reload. And when you have a tank, maybe even like the Centurion, not the 5-1, something with really good DPM, you're just going to get absolutely obliterated. So always try and find that cover whilst you're on a reload, or relocate whilst you're on a reload. And also when you have your shots fired, like here, you've got 2 shells left, always decide, okay, is it worth taking that shot, or is it worth just going for the reload now while I haven't really got any shots? And that for me is also the best thing to do. Sometimes you only fire 1 shell and then you've got nothing, so just go for that full reload, relocate and always think about that whilst you're relocating. Always look for positions you can get in, and even if you can only get into a position, fire 1 shot maybe to get the kill and then relocate again. Go for that reload again, because it's always best to have the 3 shells. You really don't want to fire 2 shells, have to relocate and then fire another shell and then a 22-second reload, because you're just going to get torn apart. Now, as I've said, it's a very difficult tank to play, and if you make a mistake, you will really suffer. Now, this game seems pretty solid for this guy. He's doing well, he's got full hit points, and it is a 2 versus 2. Now, these are the kind of situations that just suck, when your Peugeot there, your teammate is getting rushed, and there's literally nothing you can do about it because you're on that massive reload. But he has reloaded, and he is now going to go for this IS-3, the same as the Peugeot. So hopefully the Peugeot gets 1 more shot, which he does. Unfortunately, he doesn't manage to save the Peugeot, but he does get the kill. So now it is a 1 versus 1, but he is against an Emil 2. So he does have more hit points than him. I think he has better DPM than him as well. So he just needs to be very careful. He has gone for the reload, of course. He fired all his shells. There's still 2 minutes left on the clock. He can do this. He can easily do this. Unfortunately, he has the upper ground on the Emil, so he can't quite get that gun down. He does manage to get that shot, and now the Emil 2 has missed. He literally just... That was a bad miss. That was a bad miss. Now, what I like about these tanks is they do have very strong turret armor. But when you switch to the gold, as you can see there with the Emil 2, when you switch to the gold, the turret does become very, well, not very weak, but it becomes much weaker. Now, I was wondering what he was doing here. Like, he's going for distance. For me, I would have stayed close to this Emil 2. There's only a minute, just over a minute left on the clock. I would have stayed close to him because, I mean, he's had a really good game. And with the DPM, you're going to have to suffer. And you want to get close to him because, you need to... You're quite far away. And with the clock, it's not the quickest of tanks. And this Emil 2... does have that speed boost, so he can get closer to him a lot quicker. So now he's on a reload. That was not a good trade. That was not a good trade. And now the Emil 2 is rushing him. The Emil 2 pretty much has the upper hand now, and with only 40 odd seconds left on the clock, he needs to do something. But let's not take away the fact that he has done 5k damage. He's done a good job. He's got 4 kills, and it's now, I mean, 30 seconds left on the clock. If he's gonna win this game, he needs to, I mean, with the DPM now, he hasn't even got time to reload. But those were a couple of nice shots there from the Emil 2, and he does manage to get the win. But nevertheless, that was a great game for him. He played it really good. Just a little few mistakes at the end. But that's what I mean about the tank. If you make a mistake, you are going to pay for it. So I wouldn't recommend the tank at the moment. I just think it is too expensive. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.